This is Love and Marriage with Harold and Dalonika. I know you're wondering. You're like, where's Harold? That's not Harold sitting next to Dalonika. You are absolutely right. Harold is behind the camera. You guys, we going back. We're doing Life Choice Radio. But we got a phenomenal interview today for you. We got Elvis in the building. That's what my husband said. He said Elvis is in the building. And so we have Elvis here, and Elvis is going to talk with us. He's one of our panelists for Love and Marriage, the Black Tie Affair. But Elvis is not just a panelist, he's also a sponsor, and he is a man that is on fire. Y'all saw that movie back in the day with Denzel Washington, Man on Fire? That is Elvis. Elvis is on fire. Elvis,
Thank you so
welcome to
much.
the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Love what you guys are doing with the Black Tie Affair. It's going to be amazing. Everybody definitely needs to come out there and be able to not only just get their spirit right, get their marriage right, but at the same time get themselves to the next level, because I think the only way for us to be able to grow is to have a community around us that speak the same language, that, talk about the same values and principles and things like that. And I believe that event is going to be able to show people what those things actually truly are. But at the same time, be able to come together and be able to grow together. And I think that's what community is all about.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well said. Well said. Elvis, let's get into you.
Sure.
Let's talk a little. We're gonna talk a little bit
Just
about
a tiny
you, right?
bit.
Right. Just a tiny bit. The man behind the vision. That's who we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
You have. Let us know. Let our listeners and our viewers know, like, how you came from California and came. You're here in Texas now.
Yeah.
And how did that move come about?
I think it all stems back to one, trusting God through whatever your process is, and trusting God through what your vision is. I always tell people that God never gives you a battle He never thinks you can handle.
Oh,
right?
that's good.
And that's a real thing. Everything I've overcome in my life has been because God placed those tests there. That way, a testimony can come out of it. And that's always been the mission and the vision. And I remember coming out here, outside of the fact that Texas is cheaper than California,
It
right?
is.
But there's different things that led that, and I'll kind of backdate it to how we founded our organization, Soul, which stands for Saving Others, Uniting Leaders. And the vision of it was to really, I believe America needs to be safe today. People need to be safe today. But I also believe that people are leaders, but they just need to be able to find a hub, right? I think everybody has a gift. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has a calling. The only problem is some people never activate their calling. And sometimes that could come from environment, that could come from associations, that could come from either people speaking to the fool in you or the kings and queens in you. So that's always been a very, very big thing for me. So we founded the organization about 8 years ago out in Cali, and I had that drive of wanting to not only teach people financial literacy, but show people how to be able to close the wealth gap. And I saw my mom work 30 years with a master's degree. My mom wasn't able to retire. Those things really start making you question: is retirement a myth? Is it real? Do people really, work till the wheels fall off? Do they truly retire? Things like that start to create a spark. And I think everybody has that bit of hard work in there, but if they have the direction on how to be able to get to their goals, I think it'll be powerful.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I came from a family where the conversation or the concept of money wasn't taught. And I was either going to wait for the government to be able to teach my family it, or wait for somebody else to teach it, or be the person who wanted to be the generational hero in my family. So we took it upon ourselves, started the movement. The last 7 years, we've been able to help over 17,000 families. So it went from really, hey, how can we learn? How can we educate our family? To how can we truly make an impact in the community? And that's truly what it's been. And from Cali to here, we grew an amazing movement in California. We still have 2 offices over there in California and Culver City. And one day, God just, let us, hey, there's more out there for you guys to be able to get to. And we came to Texas. It's so funny because where we are right now, this was the building we walked into October of 2022. We came here, we toured this building, and the same day we toured it, we said we're getting it, right? It's a 12,000 square foot building. And it's so crazy because none of us had we haven't validated our move at the point. Like, oh, we're gonna move to Texas. No, it was just an
Oh,
idea. Let's
wow.
just go take a tour. Let's go around. Let's actually see what it looks like. We flew, we
Mm-hmm.
booked a flight, me and 14 of my partners. We came down here and literally we signed it as of February of 2023. We all upped and left California with nobody.
Wow, that's
But
fake.
but that's why I said God never places a battle he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
believe you can't handle. Because we came here with 14 people, which was
Mm-hmm.
roughly 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Today we have over 350 people in our
My
office,
goodness.
right? And we couldn't fit anymore, so we expanded. We just signed a 20,000 square foot office. But I always tell people, you trust in God, you believe, and then you do your part,
Mm.
right? Pray like it's up to God, work like it's up to you.
Oh, I'd like to
Yep.
say that one more time.
Pray like it's up to God,
Uh-huh.
work like it's up to you.
Oh, I love
Yep.
it. That's the word. Faith without works
It's dead.
is dead.
Yep.
Be it alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a hell of a journey. We love the Texas weather,
Oh, okay.
right?
What about yesterday?
No, but it has its ups and downs, but we're grateful we're here. And the
Yeah.
vision was never to be just to come into a city so we can make money. I tell people your discipline is attached to somebody else's blessings.
Oh, that's good.
Right, and when you do your part and you keep serving, the money will come. But when you focus on only the money, then the vision fades away.
Uh-huh.
Right, we focused on the vision of truly wanting to bring back education into our community. We want to empower people.
Right.
And like I said to you before we started filming today, I said last year we put over $2.5 billion back into the Black and Brown community. And for me, I tell people it's not the amount of money we make, it's that impact. Meaning, if anything happened to any of those people, $2.5 billion will circulate back into our community, and that's impact.
Oh my goodness,
Yep.
that's good. That's powerful.
Yep.
So where did this passion? Because when you speak, I've heard you speak
Yeah.
before, and when you speak with such passion and fire. Like you know how to get a crowd like stirred up
Yeah.
and a call to action.
Sure.
Where does this passion come from?
First, I didn't say this at the beginning, but I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born here. I came into the U.S. over a decade ago. But I always tell people, when you know your roots, you know where you come from, you know the family, the background you come from, then you understand that everything is an opportunity to either elevate people or to lose. It's one or the other. And one thing I always say to my guys is this: America is the land of opportunity. America is the land of milk and honey. But America is also the land that can keep you homeless if you don't take opportunities.
Oh.
It's both sides of the spectrum. It's not just, oh yeah, it's just great if you don't take if you don't take chances, if you don't find ways to utilize your gifts. And since we're talking about the black tie affair, which we're trying to bring marriages together and different things, I something that always comes to my mind is the word momentum, right? And I tell people, I say momentum is just like a husband or wife or a boyfriend or girlfriend. If you don't use it the right way, you lose it. You lose it,
That's right.
right? If you don't treat it the right way, if you don't, and it's the same thing with God entrusting you with the vision. If you're entrusted with the vision to be able to lead, help people grow, help people really actualize who they're meant to be, help people live in their purpose, if you don't utilize it, eventually that gift goes to somebody else.
Wow.
And I think that fire came from me having a true crusade. What I do right now I wasn't passionate about. I found purpose in it, right? And I think a lot of people confuse passion and purpose a lot. Right, I think passion is something that you can either gain or lose. I had passion for playing basketball when I played basketball. The goal was to make it to the league. I didn't. I played pro basketball a little bit in Belgium, but I tell people this: that didn't it didn't make me who I was, if that makes sense. So some people will be like, "Oh, that's just my passion." I say you can have a passion for something today, and tomorrow you can lose it. But you see, purpose is one thing that's embedded inside of you and it lasts for life. Because you wake up every single day and it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel like work. Just like what you guys are doing right now with, the black tie affair. It's not work.
Yes.
It's not a chore. This is a calling. You know what I mean? And when you're living in your calling, it's beautiful. It's powerful. It makes you feel like you're making change. And I think that's what life is supposed to be. Life is about creating changes for people. It's not just existing. Like I say this to my guys all the time. I say, I fail to believe my life was created for me to get older, get married, have kids, and pay bills, and then one day die. There's more to me.
Uh-huh.
There has to be more. There has to be a
Sir.
calling, impact, helping people, growing, experiencing what this world looks like. And I think that comes from people having an epiphany. And I had that years ago. Like I said, I saw my mom struggle through certain things. I saw my mom and dad be undervalued, underappreciated, underpaid. Um, and it takes one person in every family to break the curse.
Oh, I love it.
It takes one. It takes one.
So Elvis, tell us, did you know, like at a young age, that you were set aside, that there was something different about you?
You know, it's funny. My mom my mom used to always say, "You're gonna be a preacher, right?" And things and things like that. But you don't really know. You don't really know, but we're all a work in progress, and I'm a firm believer in that, right? We're all a work in progress. I didn't know my life was gonna turn out this way,
Yeah.
but I wasn't willing to give up on it either. And I think that's the difference. Is if we were to see the full picture of what our life was gonna look like, what a boring life that would be.
Wow.
What if we knew the end chapter? I always say, like, oh my God, I want my life to be better. But what if you didn't realize that there were trials and things that were going to test you
Yes.
so that you can actually see how strong you are to overcome? So I think there's a big piece to that. There's a big piece to it. I'm grateful I know life is a mystery because every challenge I get opens a new door or opens a new chapter to me, if that makes sense.
I love
Everything
that.
I go through is a journal. It's a piece to the story. It's a piece to the full picture, right? It's just like I say. I tell people all the time, there's no success without story. If somebody said, "Oh, I just woke up one day and I became a billionaire," you're gonna sit there and go, "You didn't go through no challenges. Well, I can't relate to you." But if you go through, man, you know what? Yeah, I've gotten crumbled. I've lost a lot. I've overcome. I've fallen 8 times, but every single time I can look up, I can get up. Like things like that are what people can relate to. So I always tell people I didn't know that I was set aside, but as I kept growing, and even till today, I'm still very humble about it. I tell people I'm still a work in progress. I'm not the finished version of myself, because the moment you feel like you've reached or you've accomplished, you become complacent.
Yes.
And in the world of growth, and in the world of winning, and in the world of making impact, there's no complacency allowed around it.
Come
and
on, sir.
and I think I'm a very big believer in that. A lady said something to me the other day. She was the first. Her name is Marcella Ing. Okay, and she was the first African American female lieutenant in the army, in the whole military. First female ever. She was just in my office a month ago, and I said, "Why have you accomplished all the things you've accomplished?" And she said something so profound I will never forget. I get the chills talking about it. And she says, I hear people talk about the word retire. And she says, in my book, there's nothing like retirement. Mind you, she's in her 70s. She goes, in my book, there's nothing like retirement. And I said, what do you mean by that? She says, the word retire means to take off old set of tires and put on new set of tires for a mission ahead.
Oh, wow.
And she says, in the kingdom of God, there's nothing like retirement because there's always something to be able to accomplish.
Oh, my goodness.
At every age.
Oh,
And
my
it changed my
goodness.
perspective. And I said, wow, most people are just working towards trying to retire.
This.
In her brain, she's like, no. To retire means I take off one old set of tires and I put on new set of tires for a bigger mission ahead. So I think when I apply that to my life, the way my brain works is, you're not the finished version. You still always have more. There's always something to accomplish. There's always a mission. There's always more impact you can make. So I don't think I ever knew this was going to be the life that I have, or this was going to be my voice. I knew there was something special. And I'm always grateful to my parents for always pointing those out. That's the importance of having a core family, right? People who can, help you actualize what your dreams are. I think people have dreams and goals. The problem is they don't have the vehicles, or they don't have the resources, or they don't have the people around them, the community, to be able to help them get there, if that makes sense. And that's why I bless my parents a lot. They say honor your dad and your mom so your days can be longer. And I'm a firm believer. I always give credit to them because they weren't the most successful, but they did their part as parents. And I always respect them for that, because those values and principles have molded me into the man I am today. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. You said so much, so many nuggets out of what you said. But is there a particular mentor
Yeah.
that you have connected with that have really changed the scope of your life in dimensions?
This is so funny you asked this question. Yesterday, I'm in a conversation, right? And I was talking with somebody, and the person said, um, they made a very interesting comment. Well, this person can't do this because based on their past experiences, I don't trust what they're going to do. I said, well, do you believe in change? And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, you got to realize if you were speaking to me 8 years ago, you wouldn't be getting this amount of value. Only because I've gotten around the right people. But here's the important piece. They say it takes a community and a village to raise a kid.
Sir.
Okay, let me tell you how powerful that statement is, because it's such a regular statement people dish out.
Yes.
But when you go in depth, I tell people, there are things my mom and dad couldn't do for me because of familiarity. Right? Those are my parents. Like growing up, your parents say, oh, do this. And you're like, yeah, man, wait, I don't need to hear that, right? So there were certain things that they couldn't do for me because I saw them for who they were. Those are my parents. There's familiarity. Those are the same people who discipline me. Those are the same people I've seen struggle.
Yes.
All of those things. But finding a mentor was such a eye-opener because you saw somebody who had achieved a life that you wanted, if that makes sense. Sorry about that. But they achieved a life that you wanted, and you're looking at them going, man, I love the way you are with your family. I love the way you are with your faith.
Yes.
I love the way you're financially
The three F's.
exactly. You're
Yes.
financially there. You're successful. You've helped a lot of people. So you watch people and you're going, man, I want to emulate that person.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the problem is some people have the wrong standards. Because the word emulate can go both ways. Like I tell people in gangs, right? Gangs have leaders
That's right.
that kids look at. And this is why I tell people in our community, we need to change the way people view success. Because naturally, the way people view success is, or a healthy relationship or whatever it is what we see on TV. Well, that's not the
so
right,
true.
that's not the right
Thank you.
image of what a family looks like. And for me, I looked at my two mentors, Patrick Bet-David and George Palayo. They were two amazing men. I always say this: they were fathers outside of my original dad, right? Because my parents don't live here. But then I had people here that were true examples of what it was like to build a family, what it was like to be successful, what it was like to believe in God and have strong values and principles core. And like I said, there were certain things. My parents raised me to become, a teenager, a man, but these guys took me to a different level, if that makes sense.
Oh,
They showed me how to be, my parents showed me how to become a boy, how to be able to love, how to be able to grow, different things. These people took me from a boy to a man, right? And I'm forever grateful for that because the two of them didn't have to. There was not a fee I had to pay for mentorship. I did my part. And I tell people, if you do your part, the right people also show up in your life. And like I said, I'm grateful those guys didn't see me for who I was. Patrick didn't see me for who I was. George didn't see me for who I was. They saw me for who I could become. Those are two very influential men in my life. And, one of them is worth over 650 million. The other is worth over, 50, 60 million. And it's God. There's two things I play with my life all the time. It's positioning and timing. Positioning and timing always equals a breakthrough, right? Positioning and timing always equals a breakthrough, and one can be off. Positioning can be off, timing can be off. The both of them have to be in alignment. And that's why I tell people whenever I speak with them is, one, people can always change. But then do they have the right example to emulate? The word emulate is a powerful word, right? Do they have the right people to emulate? And I can confidently say that was a very, very big change for me.
How did you meet your mentors? Take Patrick for an example. I think everybody's
It's
seen him all on YouTube.
yeah, everybody is seeing PBD on YouTube. But you know, it's such an interesting story because my brother-in-law and sister had been in the industry for about 2 years, and for 2 years they tried getting me to leave engineering to come into this space. Um, and I said to them, I said, guys, no, I'm not doing it. Like I'm an engineer, I'm already good, I'm making six figures, I'm all right. And there was something Pat said to me, and I'll never forget it. This is the little comments that make you really think. He goes, the enemy of a great life is a good life.
Oh.
The only reason you're not at where you need to be at in life is because you've gotten comfortable with your current standards. And at first, your ego kind of creeps in. Like, well, first of all,
yeah.
who's going to challenge me? But then eventually you sit there and you go, man, I don't know if there's that many people who are willing to push you, tell you the truth. And I think we have a lot of yes, ma'am, yes, sir people around us. And you can't grow with people like that in your corner. But, you know, I got into the industry, you know, got into the company, started building. And like I said, positioning and timing. I did my part, right? I was vocal, stepped up. I remember at an event, I had flown my mom in, and I looked over to the crowd and I said, Mom, one day I'm going to retire you. And mind you, I was probably at, I don't know, $20,000 in income in building my business. I didn't have no money. And I said, Mom, one day, the video's on YouTube. I said, one day I'm gonna change the direction of the Okafor last name. And it was so crazy because that very day, he looked at me different. Because he was on the stage and he heard me say that, and he goes, "Who's this guy?" Because here's the thing about winning or growing. It's easy for you to talk about the things you're gonna do when you're already winning. It is absolutely hard when you have nothing to prove. You have nothing to your name. You have nothing in your books, and you're willing to still cast that vision and saying one day, and then it's in front of everybody. And it's documented. So there's two things at that point. One, you're either gonna prove to the world that you are somebody, or you're going to prove to the world that you're a liar.
Come on.
And you know, I couldn't lie in front of my mom. I also come from an African home. You don't lie to your parents.
At all.
So when I said that was what I was going to do, you best believe, I was going to do whatever it took to make sure my parents, mom and dad, had a great life and we eradicated poverty. But that day he started to view me different, right? And this is where I always speak on George, right? Palayo, which is another great mentor of mine. But George never shielded that relationship because George and Patrick built the company together, right? Right. George was actually the first broker in the company, and you know, Pat coached George since George was 19 years old.
Amazing.
And you know, the power of a mentor. There's people who would coach you and keep you in a corner, and then there are people who would coach you and said, "No, I don't just want to coach you. I want everybody." Else in my center of influence to also be your center of influence. That's the power of a right coach. The right coach doesn't shield you. The right coach puts you around other people who can elevate you as well. And I think that's where I always give George credit because he worked with me hands-on, day to day, pushed me, I remember my mom telling him one day, "Hey, by the way, my son's hands, I'm giving my son over to you now. You get to coach him and mentor him." And it was such a powerful interaction. But George never shielded that because he knew Pat saw me from a different light, and he always encouraged that relationship. Hey, boom, every time he would get in rooms, and you've heard these on social media, get into associations or rooms where people talk about you when you're not there.
Absolutely.
The right coaches will talk and give praises about you when you're not in those rooms. That way, the right people can also look at you from a different lens, right? And that's the power of that combination. Those two men changed my life completely.
Wow.
Completely.
How do you maintain, just for someone out there who's like 18, 19, they're, you know, high school, people just graduated from high school. How do you get in a room, in a space with a phenomenal person, and then you maintain and cultivate that relationship?
Powerful. Well, man, such a powerful question. you got to do your part. You got to grow.
That's right.
Because here, complacency holds no value. It holds no value. And people who are chasing something big in life don't like that around them. Something Pat said to me one day I'll never forget. He goes, such a funny statement. I don't even know if I should be saying this. He goes, I'm not going to make another person feel inferior because I have big dreams and goals. And it's such an interesting statement. He goes, some people are not going to be in my circle in the next 5 years. Why? Because if I get around you and I have to reduce my vision and where I'm going and all these different things to make you feel comfortable because you feel inferior, then you're not supposed to be around my circle. The only way to maintain certain people like that in your life is you have to keep improving.
Amen.
You have to keep growing. You got to keep working on yourself, not somebody working on you. You got to work on yourself. You're an individual. God, I always tell people this, God gave us gifts. God gave us grace. God gave us talents.
Yeah.
How are you maximizing yours?
Yes.
How are you maximizing yours? And if a young person is watching this and they're thinking to themselves, you know, how do I, you know, get into those rooms? I tell people what you lack in age, you have to pick up in value.
Oh, that's good.
What you lack in age, you have to pick up in value. Meaning, what books are you reading?
Absolutely.
Because people, you can look young, but value has no age limit.
That's right.
Value has no age limit. When you can give value to people, they become a part of the center of your influence. Because everybody loves to listen to depth. How are you surface level? Are you deep? Do you go a little deeper? Are you able to process with people different things? That comes from when you've worked on yourself. Absolutely. So there were things I started to do, like reading books, personal development.
Yes, sir.
It plays such a huge role in maintaining relationships because you can relate. And then things like podcasts, right? It's like a new school thing today. Is everybody listens to podcasts. I tell people, find 2-3 people, right, in a field that you want to be able to learn and study them. Study them. Watch the way they talk. Watch the way they present. Watch the way their mindset is, right? And I think that's everything. It's very powerful when people, young men, can be able to work on themselves. I tell people, you got 4 G's in life. I say this to all my young guys and young girls. 4 G's. It's guys or girls, okay? Gluttony, greed, and gambling. Those are the 4 G's that can destroy people.
Wow.
Right? Guys or girls, right? You're young man, not having the right person, all these different things, distracted, gambling, gluttony, greed. Those are the 4 G's that distract people. And I believe in life, you know, people have 4 quarters to their life, right? 0 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 75, 76 to 100. Most young people, they do this thing called YOLO. You only live once, right? They YOLO their Q1. Right? Man, I'm just going to party, have fun, this, that. But life expectancy today is 76. We all pray for a longer life, but life expectancy is 76, which means most people don't even live up to Q4 of their life. So if I YOLO my Q1 and I waste my Q1, I only have 2 quarters to figure out what my calling in life is, what I'm supposed to do, and how I'm supposed to be able to live it.
Wow.
So when I meet young people, I tell them, man, if you could buy back that Q1, do it. Because if an 18-year-old or 19-year-old or 20-year-old is listening to this, you got 5 to 7 years in your Q1.
Oh my goodness.
What if you spent that time improving? You become a powerful asset to the world, if that makes sense. And that's what I tell all the guys, you know, on the team. I tell them, first I bring the people who are in like their Q3 in my organization that I mentor, and I bring the Q1 people. And I ask the Q3 people, it's a powerful exercise we do. I tell the Q3 people, what would you give to go back to this stage right now? Ooh. And you would say they're the ones I'm not the one who coached them. The Q3 people coach the Q1 people. Because then they can give them life experiences. Man, I wish at your age I did this. I found this association. I found powerful people. I found mentors. And while you have them, don't misuse it. Because I tell people law of familiarity is a real thing. You get too close, you lose sight.
Yes.
Like I can say, well, we're successful. We run, you know, an amazing business. We run a multi-million-dollar business. And it's so easy for me to lose focus and go, Yeah, I'm successful now. I don't need to give credit. Only a fool gets to the next level
Wow.
without giving credit to where it's due.
Come on, sir.
I I tell people that all the time. Yeah, I give my mentors the credit. Why? They played a very instrumental role in the man I am today. And that relationship, most people go, well, your mentors are supposed to pour into you. You're supposed to pour into them. You nurture and you water that relationship so it can keep growing. That's
Oh,
the
I
power of
love it.
mentorship, right? It's not one-way street, right? You don't want to be a taker in the relationship. How do
right.
you give into the relationship? That's the power in it.
Oh, oh, that's good. What's your cash app so we can go ahead and sow a seed? We need to go ahead and sow a seed.
There you go. Awesome. Wow.
Yeah. Like how you kept watering that relationship and you didn't get familiar. Just that's so important that young people
It is
people don't
so
know.
they don't get that piece. They don't. People go, oh well, I'm cool with them now. So
No,
nah, that's
no.
still your coach.
Sir.
That's still your coach. You
Sir.
don't lose that sight, because the moment you lose it, you abuse the relationship.
Sir.
You don't lose that sight. That's the trick. The trick in there is constantly having to, like, I'm so cool with my mentors. I text Pat right now. He texts me on my birthday. George just FaceTimed me yesterday.
Wow.
But every time they call, man, it's one phone call, man, they're calling, boom. Yeah, because why? It's that level of gratitude. I think people lose sight of gratitude in their life.
Yes. Yes.
Gratitude is everything.
Everything.
And it's a spirit thing.
Uh-huh.
Gratitude is a spirit. It's your heart posture.
You gotta know.
It's your heart posture. Wherever you view yourself and you go, man, I'm in alignment with the things that I want, and my spirit is pure. Man, you always look at people for the things they've also done in your life as you grow.
Yes.
And people are so quick to forget that. They are, because they don't understand the value of it.
Oh, that's good.
When you understand the value of a person in your life, it's just like when you understand the value of your spouse,
Come
you
on,
don't act
sir.
foolish.
Come on,
That's
sir.
it. When you understand the value, it's
Yes.
everything. But yeah,
So, Elvis, take us to, as we get ready in conclusion to our interview today with you. Gosh, we got to get a part 2. We got to get a part 2. We got to help some people with mentorship, even, because so many people you're like a magnet to people.
Yeah.
But you are very exclusive, and we really appreciate you giving us this interview today.
Sure.
And but what made you support and get behind the Black Tie Affair with Harold and Dalonika?
You know, I told you guys this. If you look me up, you're probably not gonna see. You only see maybe 2-3 interviews. I don't take on interviews at all, because, and here's why. People would ask me, dude, but you should do it and get yourself out of different stuff. I tell people the biggest challenge with interviews is you open yourself up to whatever this person's values, principles, relationships are, all these different things. And I'm very careful because, like I say, I don't get on these interviews because of the money attached to it or the clout attached to it, none of that. If your spirit is in it, you're able to relate. And I remember the first time I met you guys, and I said this to you guys, I said, in the first 10 minutes, I'll be able to know if I truly want to do anything with you guys or not, right? And you could just tell, first of all, the chemistry between you and Harold was absolutely powerful, because it wasn't forced, it wasn't fake. You could tell there's an understanding between two people who have experienced decades of life together, who are on a mission together. And I think that's the big thing with homes. Think about America today. Divorce rates are the highest it's ever been in the U.S. Why? Because nobody today is talking about marriage. Nobody's talking about bringing families together. Nobody's talking about the right values and principles. Well, think a little bit deeper. In the general sense of family, husband does their part, wife does their part, right? They all go each other 8 hours, 9 hours in their work field or whatever they do. Well, late night, come back home. Usually husbands come back home and they're hungry, right? So they go, oh, baby, I'm hungry. I need something. Fix up. They eat, go to bed, and not 1 second does the conversation about legacy and what are we building together come up.
Ooh.
It doesn't.
Wow.
Because you don't see most people who are joined by a vision. Like I tell people disrespectfully, I tell people, today kids no longer keep people together.
That's right.
It doesn't. Kids don't hold that
That's
much weight
right.
anymore. And oh well, we're in a relationship. Well, we're doing it for the kid. That doesn't hold that much weight.
That's
But a
right.
shared common vision does.
Yes, sir.
And when I met you guys, I could tell there was a very powerful shared vision that you guys wanted to be able to accomplish together. And the vision wasn't a monetary vision. The vision was an impact vision in the community. You're trying to heal a broken, a wound or an open wound.
Yes.
You're trying to be able to stitch it up and get people back, together. And I could see what that vision was. And I sat there and I literally prayed about it. And I said, man, God, what do you want out of this? And whatever the calling and whatever the mission is, let's carry on with it. And I always tell people, when I met you guys and the conversations we had, and when I knew what the calling of the Black Tie Affair was, and it wasn't just, oh, let's just host an event because it's going to be a great event.
Yeah,
It was, let's host an event that's truly going to transcend how people view life.
Yes.
And I think that is powerful. And anything that has that much power, that much spirit in it, that much faith in it, where it's not like you guys had the biggest backing from everybody in the world, but it was the backing of God, which is the ultimate.
Yes, sir.
Right? And the backing of the vision he instilled in the both of you. And when I saw that, I said, I definitely want to be partnering up with this. I'm excited because this is just the beginning of greater things to come.
Amen.
It's a stepping stone, right? And this event that is going to happen in June is going to show the world what that vision that's been planned for years is going to do. And it's going to transform marriages. It's going to, change people's lives. It's going to teach people about how to be able to become more financially stable. It's going to get, and by the way, here's the crazier part. It's going to show people how to be better as family and as individuals.
Yes.
But overall, it's going to give glory to God.
Yes. That's it.
And that's the biggest mission of everything we do.
Yes.
Right? If it doesn't magnify and glorify the man above, then what's the point of it?
Yes.
What's the point of it? So
Yes.
I think you guys' aura and what you guys stand for fumes out. When you guys talk about it, there's love, there's faith, there's principles in there. And, that's what I'm the most excited about. I'm excited for people to get their breakthroughs, but more importantly, I'm excited for people to hear what you guys' vision has always been. And I'm grateful that I get to be a part of it because you guys got to share that vision, that common vision with myself. But yeah, I don't do a lot of these. I probably have done maybe 3 in my career.
Wow.
Yes, I do not. I don't. I'm very picky on who I attach my name to.
Yes.
But I also feel the family around you guys, where I didn't have a problem attaching that, because I knew not only was it going to get people better, it was going to get me better, it was going to get the community better, and that's what we stand for, empowerment. So I appreciate you guys.
I love that part about the community. And then I'm going to go out here. But the community, it keeps coming up. Community.
Yeah.
Unity is at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chief of police said that, and he'll be there on the panel with you, the chief of police.
By the way, you know what's interesting about you saying that? George Palaio's name of his organization is called Unity.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's Unity.
God said he'll confirm his word out of the mouth of 2 or 3.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what it's about, is
Powerful.
unity.
Thank you.
But we so appreciate you coming on, doing this exclusive interview with us today. We know that you have a lot going on, and we appreciate you taking out your time.
I appreciate it.
And hey, happy birthday to you again. I hope you celebrate all month.
We're going to be celebrating all month and going into the event.
You deserve it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, dear. Thank you.
You deserve it.